my first video ever was a little Thug Life edit. Remember 2015 when Thug Life, fuck the police come and shit, and then a cap comes on my head, and then so we were in the coaching, and I was the second topper. The first topper was this other guy who was like blessed. That's what I would like to say now, because I cannot explain why I'm second. So we used to have these roast sessions in our back benches, because who sits on the back benches? It's either the fucking rats or it's the toppers. Okay, so we used to sit there and we used to roast each other. And we had little vibey friends. One of them was Rich. He had like MI4 back in 2015. That was a big thing, right? So we downloaded Thug Life Maker, and then he slaps me and I hold his slap and I slap him back, and then there comes fuck the police coming straight from the underground, toe. But we couldn't make it. There was always an error coming in, fucking androids, I say. Yeah, right. So that was my first content.
तो सर वहाँ से फिर आप आपने अभी जैसे स्टार्टिंग में बताया कि
so my content, the way I create content is it's really impulsive and it's very spread out. Once a year, or like I do it in a phase. So I did stop. That's how I do. I don't know why, but it has become a pattern. I made a few videos in 2015, shared it to mummy, mausi, family. That was my first content. That wasn't anywhere, just my family, but it is content. For fast forward 2016, I made my first stand-up comedy video. Selected, went to a college for the competition. I won the first prize. That was a very dramatic, kind of the best day of my life so far. That's where I started. That's where that was the tipping point for me to get pushed into this genre. All right. So if you watch my first video, if you go to my YouTube and you go to my very first video, it is about stand-up comedy and it is topical humor. And plus, it's a wine with topical comedy. It's literally the base core of what I do today. It's a wine. There's this guy, Kapil Sharma में दो लोग होते थे ना, Dr. Gulati और बड़े. So these two content, I made them and then I made myself. There are three characters, two of them from Kapil Sharma, and I play Arnab Goswami and I do topical humor in it. Okay, so that was my set. Let me remember a few jokes. So that time Fawad Khan recently had lost his shit from Bollywood because of that Pakistani thing, and Jio was recently getting famous and Airtel 4G girl was viral.
Okay, अब जो nostalgia आ रहा है ना सर, क्या बताऊं?
Right, all right. So wait there. So I made this analogy. This got me the first prize. I made this analogy that Jio was free. If you remember. So I made this analogy that Airtel 4G is like a 5-star hotel that is selling बहुत महंगा गाजर का हलवा, and Jio 4G is like the same, like a little tapri which is selling the same halwa in the form of a bhandar. Okay? This was the analogy, and then that the Jio 4G, and then a few jokes about the Jio 4G girl. This little analogy, the judges liked it so much, they fucking called me and everything. So that was big. That was huge. So that's where I tipped into comedy. The video is still there, but the set is not there. Only the wine part is there. But you will still see what I do today is literally a projection of it.
समझ गया सर. So sir, so that's where you became Wahifunnnywala.
A little later, into stand-up comedy after my boards. Right, the day my boards ended, went to a show, did a little set because my exam. उस time CBSE के exam paper leak हुए थे ना, तो रीटेस्ट हुआ था. So made this joke कि हो सकता है मेरे को joke repeat हो, मैं अभी CBSE से पास हो गया हूँ. Shit like this. First set, पहली बार हाथ कांप रहे थे माइक पकड़ने में. It was literally a room full of boys, a literal boys locker room. Right, so it is fine. And then from there I did a few here and there. I entered the comedy circuit. Okay, it's very dynamic. There are women, there are men, mostly men, but yeah, it's still dynamic in the way of its content. The circuit, comedy circuit, they call it. We are not aware of them because this is the meme community, right? So from there I went to स्टार प्लस पे कॉमेडी शो आता था आई गेस, स्टैंड अप कॉमेडी का, रिमेम्बर? सो उसका जो पहला जज था ना, पहला जो विनर था वो वहाँ पे जज था, ठीक है, ऑन दिस लिटिल स्टैंड अप शो। और मेरा दिस वाज इन दिल्ली और मेरा स्लॉट था। अब हुआ क्या, कॉलेज था, ठीक है, डांस वांस चल रहा था, मैं ऑडियंस में बैठा हुआ था और मैं कुरकुरे खा रहा था, ठीक है। मेरे साइड में आके एक बंदा बैठा, वाइट टोपी, वाइट जूते और पतला सा। सो आई वाज लाइक फकिंग हु इज दिस पंडित sitting right next to me. He said stand up comedy कब शुरू होगी, and I was very nervous that day, so I was like पता नहीं, and I dismissed him, went off, talked and shit, dismissed him completely. He was a little shorter than me. Fast forward to my set, I do the same set of that 12th ka paper and all. He was the judge, he was the winner of Star Plus. He was sitting right next to me, asked me the time and kab aayega, and I dismissed him just because like he was a little smaller than me. In the dark, I couldn't see, the auditorium was dark obviously, couldn't know him, but it sucked. Okay, so what happened is कि जब हो गया ना सब कुछ, उसके बाद everyone was on stage, ठीक है, तो he called कि वो कहाँ है फनी वाला, ठीक है। I was backstage, I was just sitting there contemplating what the fuck I did. I bombed, I didn't do very good, but he called me funny wala, and I was like shit. I went there immediately, right? Basically I didn't know na, मैं थोड़ी था funny wala, it was not my name. He pointed कि वो कहाँ है funny wala, and then a few people were like अरे भाई तेरे को बुला रहे हैं, and I was like वो मेरे को बुला रहे हैं. I went to the stage, handshake and everything. Didn't win anything obviously, but that name that stuck with me. People think कि ironic है या normie है, नहीं, it's not derived from the meme community at all. It is entirely from some different area of my life. So yeah, that's the story.
It makes sense अब कहानी जानते ना.
Yes, so I am literally WAHIFUNNYWALA. That's how people remember me.
A lot of people assume it's very pretentious.
Yeah, I know, right? It happened. There was a phase when people were like, WAHIFUNNYWALA and WAHIUNFUNNYWALA. And I think this one particular joke, Wahi XYZ Wala, is very WAHIUNFUNNYWALA, if anyone makes it. Sorry. But I think, yeah, it is pretentious, but I think it also gives me a little responsibility ki, okay, fuck funny hona,
hashtag funny wala.
But doesn't really matter. I like it, the name. And
so sir, what was the first video that you जब आपने देखा and you were like इसका तो अब I can do this as a thing that like now people are listening to me. जैसे the video that has hit 2000 views, that is the video which I thought, मैंने बोला कि इस वीडियो पे मैं कर सकता हूँ.
Actually, अच्छा हाँ, I saw that, yes.
So what was your video कि इसके आगे मैं कर सकता हूँ?
I kind of never had self-doubt. There were a few points obviously, but never had that कि मैं नहीं कर पाऊँगा. My first video on the internet that hit 1000 views in 12 hours. School के सारे दोस्तों ने देख लिए थे, वही Delhianers. The second video was also stand-up comedy. It has 6000 views. Okay, basically everyone from, I was famous in school. Okay, so that's the derivative for those views. The kids, the juniors, the seniors, they all watched that shit. The teachers also watched that shit. So it was never about views for me. Views hit easy. The earlier 1000 that people worry about, that didn't really. So I was never key, will I be able to do it? Didn't see it that way. I was like, what next should I do? How should I change? How should I make it better? That's literally all I cared about.
That is a thing that is very very rare right now. Currently तो बहुत rare है, क्योंकि I've met people who feed off of internet points and validation कि मतलब
yeah, I got into that circle last year. On that meme page that I made, I was in the spiraling circle of validation. I didn't know what to do, just posted a content on there and then looked at the numbers. And it was so toxic that when the page was deleted, I re-evaluated. I sat in the sun and I re-evaluated, where the fuck have I come? Aman, what the fuck have you done? Right, I was like this guy who was doing stand-up comedy. I left stand-up comedy last year. I was this guy who was doing stand-up comedy, not looking at numbers. just did it for the hell of it. Okay, उस टाइम तो कोई ऐसा भी नहीं था ना कि सब्सक्राइबर्स हैं और व्यूअर्स हैं, अभी भी नहीं है, बट उस टाइम कोई भी नहीं था. Literally just my friends, just people I know. तो it was that time it wasn't about views because I loved it. रात को मैं 1 बजे घर आता था मैं जो कॉमेडी शो से. CLC was very far away from my house, so आखिरी मेट्रो में होता था मैं जो. So it was so fun that I enjoyed every second of it. But then when I entered the meme community na, tab I was a little into the numbers. But now at this point when I re-evaluated and came back to WahifunnyWala, I absolutely put it in a body bag, like one of my friends says.
कि वो वाली वो
Through it.
अब I'm a much better person right now.
I guess yeah, that if that makes me better, not caring about numbers.
Yes sir,
Definitely.
ये तो मैं ऑब्जेक्टिव भी बोल रहा हूँ, it does. हाँ जी सर. तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने पूरी कहानी शेयर की.